everyone. This is our first meeting. Thank you all for coming. Our speaker today is going to be Elise.
Thank you all very much for having me. Alright, so thank you for introducing me. So my name is Elise Kreilich. I know it's a weird looking last name, but I am a dietitian. I am also a teaching assistant for Dr. McKinley. So I'm going to walk you guys a little bit through who I am and a little bit about my career. Okay, so welcome to my life. So we'll talk about some fun facts, my career journey, and I'm going to give you some unsolicited advice. Always fun. Okay, so just wanted to give you a little bit of personal information about me. I'm originally from Houma, Louisiana, so I'm from around here. This is my family on the bottom right. I'm one of 4 kids. I'm the youngest. So those are my parents in the middle. I'm married, so this cute bald guy up on both sides, that's my husband Alex. We have some fur babies, so this is Calypso, and then that is Marmalade, and he's much bigger and harder to catch nowadays. So I have lived in Florida for the last 13 years before I moved back, and really outdoorsy, like to go hiking, as you can see, like to paddle boards, so that was us at one of the springs in Florida. And then whenever I'm not hanging out with people or, nowadays doing schoolwork, I like to do artsy type stuff. So like this is something that I made out of resin and rock and stuff like that. So, okay, so just a little bit about me. All right, so to tell you about my career, I did my undergrad here at LSU. It's been a little while since I graduated. It was back in 2009. I did my internship and master's at the University of Memphis. So that I finished in December of 2010, and then I managed to pass the exam on Valentine's Day of 2011, so yay. So I've been a dietitian since 2011. I lived in St. Louis, Missouri for a very short period of time and couldn't find a job up there, and also it was way too cold. So I got a job in Florida at Winter Haven Hospital, which I don't even think it's called that anymore. I think it was bought by Baycare, but worked at the hospital for about a year and a half. So just a little bit about hospital work. When you're going into clinical, I feel like the hospital is a really good place to start. This was where I got to work with every type of patient possible. So everybody from the ICU, critical care unit, there was a rehab floor, we had stroke, cardiac, all different issues, everything you can imagine. We even had a psych floor. There's some fun stories to go along with that. But some of the interesting things you see in the hospital, I mean, we hear about it, the tube feeds, the TPNs, the trauma that we work with, but I had a really weird case, and I just wanted to share this with you guys, because you see things that you have no idea about. Does anybody know what a bezoar is? No? Okay. So I had a physician that I was working with in the hospital, and he said, Elise, come here, you got to see this. And he showed me a CAT scan. Now, I have no idea what I'm looking at with a CAT scan. I wasn't trained to look at that, but he explained it to me. And he showed me what looked like someone's stomach. He said, this is this woman's stomach. And the stomach wasn't up here. It was all the way down here. So it had been stretched to the entire size of her abdomen. And he pointed to something round that was inside it. He said, this is what's called a bezoar. This is what happens when somebody has severe diabetes and they're not taking care of it. This woman has lost 115 pounds in the last year because she hasn't been able to eat. So what happened was that food wasn't moving from her stomach into her small intestine. It was just sitting there and getting bigger and bigger and bigger, and it created what was called a protein bezoar. And so it was just like a rock in her stomach. So she could only consume liquids. So I got to go talk with her about, her diet before and after surgery, because of course they were going to have to go in and take it out, and work with her on that. And we actually gave her straight pineapple juice. Does anybody know why? No?
It breaks down the protein.
Yes, it does. Okay, there's a substance called bromelain in the pineapple juice that actually is a meat tenderizer, and it breaks down proteins. And so we gave her that to drink to start breaking it down before they could go in and cut it up. So it was just a really interesting thing. Obviously, there were tons of things that I saw in the hospital, but if you're looking to go into clinical, I think that's a really good place to start. After that, I decided to specialize. So I ended up going into renal. So I started working for DaVita. You guys have probably heard of DaVita. They have them all over the place. There's also Fresenius all over the place. Those are the big two. They have Those are the large renal care companies. Does anybody know what dialysis is? We're all pretty familiar with it. Is anybody not familiar with dialysis? Do you not have any idea what that is? Okay, good, everybody knows. All right, so I decided to go into dialysis. I did direct patient care for the first 3 years. The way that it's a little different when you're working in the hospital versus working in dialysis is in the hospital you are working with patients, daily. So you get your patient list, figure out who you need to see, you go see them. You might see the same patient a few days in a row, a few weeks in a row. Maybe at most you may see them a few months if there's somebody who has to stay there for a really long time. But in dialysis, these patients you're going to get to know really well. So you get a little closer to them. You get to see them, either decline if they're not doing well, or you get to see them improve. You'll have patients who come in when they first, their kidneys first fail. They'll come in and they can't walk. They can barely talk to you. They're not very with it. And then maybe a month or two later, suddenly they're a different person and they're walking in and they're saying, "Hey, how are you doing? Good to see you." Weighing themselves on the scale without help. It's pretty amazing, the transformation. So you really get to know these patients. So that was my first 3 years. And then I decided to go into management. So the type of management that I did the first go around was as a facility manager. So instead of just being a nutrition manager, which you guys may be more familiar with, I was a facility administrator. So that meant I was over the entire facility. So that was about 6 months worth of training, leadership training, learning what everybody in the facility does. So that means that I was over the RNs, so the registered nurses, the patient care technicians, the biomed. So I was basically everybody's boss. Even though I didn't understand everything that everyone was doing, I had a lot of help in learning this. So that is definitely a direction that you can go if you're looking to go into management. There are a lot of different ways that you can become a manager. So that was something I did, and I did that for about 3 years. And it's good and it's bad, and I think everybody is a little bit different in what they like to do. It turned out that I did not want to continue doing that forever. I had a facility that flooded at 10:30 at night on a Sunday, and I got the call, and I had to drive to the facility and respond to that and handle, them clearing out everything, making sure it was safe, drying everything out, moving the patients over to another facility. So, that kind of management really it can take a lot of, a lot of energy, a lot of time. So if it's something that you want to do, some people thrive at it and they do really well in that situation. I decided I didn't want to continue. And so I ended up going to Fresenius. I went back into a patient care role for about a year and a half. It was like going on vacation for a year and a half. A lot less responsibility, but also back to the thing that I loved, which was being with patients. And then I was offered a position as a nutrition manager. So this is another way that you can go into management. I was over the dietitians specifically. So I had 17 facilities, and I worked with all the dietitians at those facilities. I was their direct manager, helping them with training, training new people, hiring, doing all those kinds of things. But also, as part of that job, I was a quality manager, which meant that half the time I was working with the dietitians specifically, and the other half I was going into the facilities and working with the rest of the team, helping them with their processes. So if you go into clinical, you'll notice, those processes are really important. There are certain protocols you follow, certain responsibilities that each member of the team is supposed to do. And so it's really important that you have people there that can guide those people in the right direction. Hey, we're doing it this way and it's not quite working. Let's brainstorm and figure out a better way to do it. And so the other half of the job was quality management. And honestly, that was fantastic. I loved working for Fresenius. I can't say enough good things about it. Most renal dietitians never leave. So that's I'm actually one of the few who has left renal after having been there. So it's a very stable, very specialized area. I did find that I got a lot of respect as a renal dietitian. Obviously, it depends on where you go as to what the team is like, what doctors you work with, what managers you work with. That all plays a huge part, but I have had a very positive experience with that. And so It's something that I definitely recommend if you're interested in it. But I decided last year, my husband and I talked about it, we decided we were going to move back to Louisiana. So after being in Florida for 13 years. My family is here, needed to be close to my parents who are aging, or getting to that point. And my husband asked me, do you want to stay with Fresenius? Is that what you want to do for the rest of your life? And I really sat and thought about it, and I said, you know, I don't think it is, and it's not because it's not a great job, it is, it's a great career. It's that I wanted to do more. When you're working with renal patients, you see the things that we talk about all the time. You really see the struggle. You see the high levels of metabolic syndrome, obesity, diabetes, type 2, hypertension, all the heart disease, the things that come with it. And it's really difficult because we know that about 70% of those cases of renal disease could have been prevented. And so I wanted to go into prevention. So that's why I'm here. So I decided that I was going to, change tracks, potentially, maybe one day, teach people like you. We'll see. And then do some research that could contribute to the greater good. And so that is what brought me here. Dr. McKinley over there was kind enough to have a conversation with me and convince me that this was a good fit. And she's been fantastic ever since. So that brings me here. So I started in May, and it's been pretty smooth ever since. So moving on, now we get to the fun stuff, the unsolicited advice. Okay, so over the years I've picked up quite a few pearls of wisdom. It may not be true for everybody, but this is what's true for me. Okay, so this is number one. I am 39 years old, and I decided to go back to school. You can change yourself on your journey at any time. You are not set in stone as a person or as a professional. Anytime you decide, I wish my life were different, you can make it different. You have that power. There is nothing stopping you, except for you. So that's something that I had to get over. Am I too old to go back to school? Is it too late for me to make a change? And the answer is no, it's not too late. It's never too late. Second thing, take charge of your finances. When I was in grad school in Memphis, had this great financial seminar, and I'm really glad that I attended. We talked all about, investing and IRAs and, all these things. We talked about student loans. When you are looking at your next steps, when you're looking at your grad schools, when you're looking at internships, when you are looking at what position that you're going to accept, you really want to understand what's going on with your finances. Understand what you're going to owe, what you have to pay back. Understand what kind of position you're taking. The 10-year public service student loan forgiveness, that is a real thing. I've had several friends who have had their loans forgiven after 10 years, hundreds of thousands of dollars, because they were doing something in public service. And of course you have to weigh that with the fact that public service positions often don't pay quite as much, but it may end up paying off in the end, so that's something to weigh. I know Dr. McKinley talks in her class about internships and grad schools and how much they cost and how that is something to look into. Definitely you'll want to look into that. Make sure that that is something that's going to fit your lifestyle, your budget, and look into this early. Don't rely on somebody else to do this for you. The next one. All right, so this is probably the most important piece of advice that I can give to you, and it's that people and relationships are the most important thing. Okay. People and relationships are more valuable than anything else. You never know when somebody's going to be important to you. It could be somebody professionally, somebody personally. Treat people well, be respectful. People notice when you think you're getting away with something. You're coming in late, or you're not picking up your work, you're not doing what you're supposed to do. People notice. They may not say anything. You might think you're getting away with it, but you're not. They see it. And also, on the other side, they see it when you're doing really well, when you are working hard, when you care about the things that you're doing, when you are there for the people that need you. They notice, and they will step up for you when it's time, whether it's to write a letter of recommendation or to call somebody and say, hey, this person's applying where you work and they're fantastic, you need to take them. Or it could be somebody personally that's going to help you through something, that you're going through. And it's symbiotic. You never know when somebody's going to be important to you, but you also never know when you're going to be important to somebody else. So I cannot stress this enough. People are very important. And then the last thing is embrace the fun. So, what the things that we're doing, sometimes they're really serious, and so, you gotta let loose and have a good time. Embrace the silliness. Literally, all of these pictures are from work. So these are all colleagues, people that I've worked with, events that we've had. We did a lip sync battle and we did the Thriller. That's what this is. We did the paint sip, and then the last week before I became a manager, every single day of that week, my colleagues decided to do something different to my desk. So I just have the one picture of the Post-it notes, so they covered everything in Post-it notes, but at one point they did wrap the entire desk in wrapping paper and put a big bow on it. So it was great. It was a lot of fun. So as you can see, we had a good time. Despite the seriousness of dialysis and of healthcare, you definitely want to have a good time. So now, does anybody have any questions for me? What you got?
What made you get into dietetics?
Oh, that's a great question. It's very personal for me. So my entire family has diabetes, hypertension. They've all got some form of metabolic syndrome. It's on both sides of my family. So when I was growing up, I was very overweight. Of course, that was something that I struggled with. But then once I got to college, I really wanted to, I actually started off in chemical engineering. I didn't start in dietetics. I think a lot of people have that experience where they start in something else and then get into this. But, I realized I didn't want to do calculus ever, if I could help it. And a friend of mine was like, well, you're really into that nutrition stuff. You should be a dietitian. I was like, what is that? I don't know what that is. And I found out the next day, and then I changed my major the week after. So it was just one of those things. Once I found out what it was, it made sense, and that's what I wanted to do.
Yeah, this is just random, but during COVID, were you still working as a renal dietitian?
Yes, and
yeah, how was that?
so actually, that was when I made the transition at Fresenius from being a dietitian, a patient care dietitian to a nutrition manager. So at first, we were wearing masks all the time. In fact, we wore masks in dialysis longer than anybody else. I think they just stopped in the spring. They just stopped wearing masks 24/7. They still wear the masks to face the patient, and we call it patient facing when you're on the treatment floor and you're in front of a patient. It was difficult. I was lucky in that I didn't lose anyone to COVID that was very close to me, but I knew several patients who passed away. We lost a lot of dialysis patients, and actually, not really a fun fact, but a fact, is that it looked like the numbers of patients whose kidneys were failing was decreasing in 2020, but it's not real. It's just that those patients are the people who had the comorbid conditions and they died during COVID. So we lost so many people during COVID that it affected the kidney disease numbers in the US. And now we are seeing those numbers skyrocket again. So COVID was a very interesting time. Difficult for a lot of people, but in practice, it was, we stopped being able to do meetings together. And I'm sure a lot of you had the same experiences. You weren't, able to meet in class together. Did a lot of things online, but I had physicians on my Facebook asking for masks in the beginning because they didn't have any. And so we gathered up all our N95s that we had and we gave it to them. So we had N95s at my house because we do woodworking, and so we gave them several boxes. And they were rationing masks in the beginning. So it was, I'm not sure if y'all saw any of this, but there were large trucks parked outside the hospitals where they were putting bodies because we didn't have a place to put them. People were dying so fast. So it was something for sure. Any other questions?
How did you switch into management outside of just doing training?
So It was a combination of things. So DaVita actually offers leadership training, and it's specifically for at the time, it was specifically for anybody who wanted to go into facility management, and it's an actual program, it's a 6-month program. Once you go through that program, then they consider you, as long as you have the other qualifications, they consider you eligible to become a manager. The training that they give you is very hands-on, on the job. The budget is very tight in healthcare, especially in dialysis, and so you're not really working under someone. You're taking that job basically and just getting help from everybody who works in facilities around you. So that's kind of how it was, kind of like being tossed into the fire. It was a really good experience in that it was valuable. It's extremely valuable, learning how to not just be a manager but be a leader, working with people, understanding what's happening, understanding human nature and what you're going to deal with. Some people joke that's kind of like being a parent. I don't have any kids, so I can't directly compare, but it makes sense. But yeah, so that's how I transitioned. I had that opportunity. I did it for several years, and then that enabled me to continue along the track to get another management position later. And then somebody had a question back there.
What made you choose the graduate program and internship you attended, and did you pursue any special credentials or education outside of that?
Yes. Oh, thank you for asking. So I chose the University of Memphis because they had the master's and internship program together. And of course, at the time, the master's wasn't required, but I figured if I'm going to go do this, I might as well, get the master's at the same time. Also, they had a guaranteed assistantship. So at the time they took 12 people each year, and you were guaranteed, if you got in, you were guaranteed an assistantship spot, which meant not having to pay tuition. Although, and I almost forgot to mention this when I was talking about finances, so sometimes they'll pull the rug out from under you, so make sure you find out what's going on. My very last semester in my internship, I was not taking classes, and since we weren't taking classes I wasn't doing the assistantship. So because that last semester it was full-time internship, full-time rotations, no assistantship, they charged us for tuition. And I found that out a week before it was due. And I found out that I was going to be out of state because they didn't allow in-state if the reason you were there was for school. And so in order to get the in-state tuition, which was a huge difference, there was like a $9,000 difference between the two for one semester. I got married. I was already engaged, but I went to the bursar office and I asked them, how can I get in-state tuition? They were like, well, these are the loopholes, and one of them was you have to be married to somebody who is in-state. And I was like, I'll be back Monday. And I went home. I knew my husband very well. I went home and I was like, what do you think? And he's like, yeah, let's go right now. We can get to the courthouse. So we ended up eloping, but we did have a wedding a year later. But that's another reason why I say make sure you have your finances in order, because this is, he had the thought, oh, well, your money is my money, so we're going to go ahead and do this now. But yeah, that was one of the reasons I chose the program. It was still a better option, even with that happening. That was still a better option than several of the other ones that I chose. But I know now you guys have more choices than I did.
Did you have to advocate for your pay, like in any of the positions you were in?
Yes, I did. When I was first hired at the hospital, I just want to say this was good back then. I think I got $22 an hour. And that was really good for an entry-level dietitian at the time in a hospital. Now that would be pretty terrible. But the manager that was there at the time was very much an advocate for dietitians. She always lobbied to give us higher pay. She wanted to pay people more if they already had a graduate degree. She even had created another title for us. So I was a senior clinical dietitian instead of just an entry-level dietitian. And then when I went into dialysis, historically speaking, dialysis pays more because it is specialized. And so I did, I got a nice pay bump there. And then it's a pay-for-performance company. DaVita and Fresenius are both like that. And so when you meet certain criteria, you get a bigger pay bump than if you don't. But it's also about how well the company's doing. When I got the management position, they tried to lowball me, and I told them I know what it's going to take to do this job, so I would like to be paid more, and they met it. And then same thing, I was offered a certain amount to go to Fresenius, and I let them know, hey, that's a little low based on my experience, you know, and they went a little higher for me. I would say that there are a lot of nuances when it comes to pay. You know, we could probably talk about that for a really long time, but I'm not going to get into that right now. And then I just realized I didn't answer part of your question earlier. I did get my certified specialist in renal nutrition. It took 2 years of practice, and then I was able to sit for that exam, and you have to take that exam every 5 years. So I've taken it twice. I'm going to have to let it lapse because I'm no longer seeing patients, so I think it's next year that it's going to expire. But yeah, that was another certification I got. Any other questions? Huh? All right. Well, thank you all so very much for having me. I appreciate it.
Yeah.
Oh, thank you. That is adorable. All right. Y'all have a great evening.
Okay, so welcome to our September meeting. So, meet our executive board. I'm Corinne, and then
I'm Mags, the president-elect. And I'm Cameron, the treasurer.
Elise.
He's not here. Should I just see him?
Okay. Would y'all like to introduce yourselves? Like, go in a circle, starting by Max.
Okay. I'm Mags. Oh,
I'm
sorry.
I'm Caitlin.
Can we see like what grade we're in?
I'm a freshman.
Okay. I'm Mag. I'm a junior. I'm Cameron. I'm a senior. I'm Ivy. I'm a senior.
I'm Landry. I'm a sophomore. I'm Raylan. I'm a senior.
I'm Mariah. I'm a sophomore. I'm Asia. I'm a senior.
I'm Ava. I'm a junior.
I'm Carolina. I'm a junior. I'm Lauren. I'm a sophomore.
I'm Meredith, I'm a senior.
I'm Maddie, and I'm a sophomore.
I'm Molly and I'm a freshman.
I'm Allie, and I'm a freshman.
I'm Eliza and I'm a freshman.
I'm Emma and I'm a freshman.
So we have some chair positions still available. We have the National Nutrition Month chair, which they help organize and run events in the month of March. The theme is going to be announced closer to March, so if y'all are interested, y'all can scan this QR code or use the bit.ly link, and the PowerPoint slides are going to be emailed to y'all. And then fall membership dues, if y'all haven't paid, they're $12 for 1 semester and $20 for the year. We have a QR code on here and then a QR code over there by the shirts on the back. So please pay your dues so that y'all can be an active member. And then here are our, what are the chair points?
Yeah, so turn it over to Cam.
Oh, sorry. So Cameron.
Just talk about like the guy or my position. Okay, so I am the community outreach co-chair alongside Ayana, and we are creating this monthly newsletter where it has all the volunteer opportunities that we have available right now. And if y'all know of any others that aren't on the guide, please let us know so we can share with y'all. And if you have any questions about the guide, you can just reach out to us about any opportunities, about applying for them, or any issues that you have. It's going to go out monthly. It's categorized. It'll say the table of contents like clinical, community, different types of opportunities for y'all to get involved.
Okay. And then for volunteer opportunities, it's like not super.
Well, that's that problem.
I can like name mine there. Is that better? This one. Okay. So you need to make sure to log your volunteer opportunities because we have a point system and awards. So just remember to keep a personal record and then share them through this link on bit.ly. Tiger to Tiger mentoring, they are doing a new program this year where it lasts for a month. Basically, you get paired up with an upperclassman if you're a freshman or a sophomore, and y'all do meetings, and here's an application for it, and you can get more information. But the first cohort is starting on October 14th, and it'll end in November 15th. And Morgan Green is the person that you contact for that, so you can email her if you have any questions. And then we have LAND, our annual virtual conference. Save the date for Friday, March 21st and Friday, March 28th on Zoom. There's more details and scholarships that are going to be released soon, but this is a good way to.
Landry is our land and brand chair, so she'll be filling you in.
And then hazing training, that is due October 1st. It shouldn't take more than about an hour. You have to do this for all your clubs, so make sure y'all get that done. And email your certificate to SDA@lsu@gmail.com.
There's a lot missing. I'm gonna start stalking. I'm gonna start stalking you soon. There's a lot missing.
And then we have a member, social, or volunteer opportunity. We're going to be doing our hay bale painting on Wednesday, October 2nd at 4:30 in the Nap Hall Lounge. Bring yourself, and there's going to be paint, and our theme and what we're doing is going to be a secret. So.
If anyone can figure out that color scheme, it's not a secret.
With the hay, so we have homecoming week. Our decorating days are going to be the 9th and the 10th of October, and then you're going to sign up with this link to come and decorate.
Okay, let's slow down for the newbies. So, homecoming week, they're gonna stick a bunch of hay bales out on the lawn outside Nap Hall, and one of them's ours. And we decorate it, and we win every year. And so, what we do is we do it in advance. So next week, we're gonna have a party where you all get to contribute to it by painting some part of it, so that's a little bit easier to piece together the following week. Because Corinne and I are gonna be in Minnesota the first couple of days of the week, so then right when we get back, we can kind of put it together. And so this sign up is for actually being outside those 2 afternoons to help literally like spray gluing stuff, literally gluing that thing together. And I'm allergic to glue, so I need help. So this year I promise my eyes are not gonna bulge out of my head. Every year I say it, and then I come to 30/25 and my eyes are like, and I have to go to the emergency room. So that's what that is if you're not familiar with it, so kind of the difference. So next week it's just like a chill little social in Nap, come hang out, paint some stuff, and then the following week during homecoming week it's outside. And there's examples from other years.
We're trying to win for the figure in the row.
Yes, we could do half and still win, but I don't know. We still go above and beyond.
And we still have some merch for sale. All of our shirts over there on that table are $10. And then the vintage SDA tanks and long sleeves are $5. And then our gray sweatshirts are still $25. And you're gonna Venmo SNDA LSU along with your club dues. You can get
I found more t-shirts. If you were looking for sizes, check the table again if you were at the last event.
And then there's diecast boot camp.
That's tomorrow for seniors. Yay! They already know that.
It's on Zoom, so don't forget about that. And then our member of the month is.
So we pick a member of the month every month based off of folks who are coming to meetings, they're logging their volunteer stuff, they're kind of making sure that things are coming together and making sure SNDA is kind of moving along. So it's always tough at the beginning of the year, but I think the most deserving person was someone who kicked off this year the right way. So this month's person is Corinne. Yay! She got us started off on the right track. So, from now on, when I put those posts on social media, like log your hours, I'm the one looking for that stuff. I'm just like, who's coming to meetings, who's logging hours, who's doing stuff, and I kind of see what's going on and kind of pick who's been doing stuff throughout the month.
She's very organized, so like everything you do is gonna count every hour. and you can put it on your resume and stuff. So our next fall meeting is going to be on Thursday this time. We're trying out different days to see what works with your class schedules and stuff. So October 24th, our speaker is going to be Sarah Brignac. She works at St. Tammany Cancer Center. And then Wednesday, November 20th, our speaker is going to be Elizabeth, and she's the owner of Harvesting Nutrition, and they're both going to be here at 4:30. So invite a friend and come. And then thank everyone. Thank y'all for joining. If y'all signed it on the sheet, it's over there. If y'all walked in late, just write your name down, and then y'all also scan that and sign in.
Yeah, if you're watching the video, scan and sign in. Y'all can do that too if you want to, just to make Elise's life easier. Make sure the link works.
That's it. Does anyone have any questions? Is it working?
Do we have to have like a certain number of hours, like for volunteers? Like, it's like
There's no minimums, it's just that if you want to go after like an award
you
at
just,
the end of the year, it
Okay.
helps to start racking them up early.
Does it matter what like kind of volunteer it is, or it's just?
Can it be
General.
anything really?
It's pretty much anything. Yeah. We have some folks do all kinds of random stuff. Which
How
is,
do we like show that we did it? Like, do we submit pictures of us?
you can, yeah, there's like when you fill out the form, you kind of put in the details of like where it was, what time, the date. 'Cause sometimes it's like one-off events, or if it's like a consistent thing, you can kind of be like, oh, this month I did X number of hours with this person. And usually there's like a contact person name, and then if you have photos from the event, we'll definitely collect those, and there's a place you can upload them with that.
Any other questions? Alright, well, y'all can get your merch if y'all want to purchase that, and yeah, y'all can stay around and chat. But thank y'all.